Welcome back. In this session, we're going to create the forms or the three-dimensional shapes for our 6-cube David Smith sculpture. You can see that these cubes have all been nicely glued together, and this rectangle has been nicely glued together. And to create that form, we have to take our flat pieces of paper and glue them up. So when we're done, the cube is going to look like this. You want to have nice crisp edges on your cube, and you want to have the top folded and glued down so you can barely see the seam, and you can barely see an overhang here where the paper overlaps the edges. Okay, so to get started, you should have 2 pieces of your A color. They should be fully decorated with lines. You should have 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4 of your B color, and they should be fully decorated and finished. And your 1 C piece, that's the rectangular prism, fully decorated. If you want to have more than that, you're more than welcome to make more, but that's the basic requirements for the assignment. Then for this assignment, you're going to be using the orange top glue bottle to make it a little easier. So you'll have to unscrew that orange top like you would with a normal glue bottle, rather than the pressing down gently and squeezing with the red tops like we have in class. Okay, so to get started, folding these up. As you start working, you're going to start with the little glue tab. Okay, on that little glue tab, put just a little bit of glue. And that's why we're using the orange one, so it's easier to do. And then gently with your finger, smooth that glue down so it's nice and even. If you'd like to have a paper towel sitting next to you to wipe your fingers on to keep them clean, I think that would be a good idea. Then as you open this up, you have 2 sides that you can reach in. You can take your left hand and reach inside the box to secure this little glue tab to the edge. So fold that edge in, and then make sure that it firmly adheres to this edge. Take it and with your one hand inside, pinch that edge together and let it get nicely glued up. Make sure that that flap here is nicely glued, and it should be very perfectly level there so that it can catch the other 2 flaps. Once you're sure that that is firmly glued, then I would say try not to use an excessive amount of glue. Okay, you're just going to use a little bit of glue on here, and again I would take your finger and just carefully, evenly spread it out so that it's an even amount of glue and it's not squishing over the edges, and also it's evenly placed right along the edge. Okay, this one is my next flap to glue down, so I'm again going to hold my left hand inside and firmly hold the corners together and the edges together and kind of pinch these edges so they get nice and firmly glued together. Using my left hand on the inside to push the paper up. You can kind of see that. Once you've got that glued, follow the same procedure for the next layer. Smooth that glue out. Smoothing the glue out will also help your paper not to warp. Okay, because you don't want the paper to start to warp as you work with it. You want it to stay nice and firm. Here's my last piece. Sorry, second to last piece. And I'm going to hold that down. And then my very last piece. Smoothing my glue out again, and smoothing that glue right up to the edges so that we get a nice clean adhesion there. Okay, once you have that done, I would actually suggest holding it down on the table and taking your fingers and just pushing those pieces of paper together from the top down. Okay, so you have a nice even edge there. Then the last side is a little harder because you can't reach inside. So I'm going to take the glue and put it again on my glue tab, smooth it out, and fold it in. And this time I'm going to pinch it from inside like this, making sure that this edge is nice and even there while I pinch it in. Okay, once it's firmly adhered, I'm going to put the glue on the top here, and again smooth it in. Again, don't use too much. And this part, again, I'm going to take my finger and stick it inside so that I can get those two edges nicely and neatly glued. Okay, now that I've got that done, my last edge here, smooth my glue out, and now if you want to, you can try this and take a bone folder and slide it inside to pull that flap up a little bit. As you gently push that down, if you use a bone folder rather than your finger, you can kind of make sure that it's nice and flat. And the last piece, make sure the glue is right up to the edge. Try not to get it onto the design that you've made go over your edge. And that last one, squishing it down like that. Be gentle as you can, so that you don't malform your box and have it all squished up. Okay? Then after you finish one box, set it aside and start working on your other boxes. You might want to, depending on who's sitting at your table and what colors everyone has used, you might want to label your boxes somehow, maybe with a little piece of tape, maybe with just knowing who's got what. Maybe you want to set them separately inside of your storage box so you know whose is whose. So make sure that you don't get somebody else's. Then take the rest of class to finish gluing these together. Okay? So I'm going to come back in a second video that I can fast forward and put these all together.